Hello, Red Devils, and welcome to another fire edition of the Red Devil Experience, your go-to spot for all things in Manchester United. I'm your host, Eric, and we've got a massive news round up to dive into today, straight from the heart of Old Trafford's chaos and dreams. From takeover whispers with UAE consortium to injuries, updates before the Liverpool clash, juicy January transfer buzz. We're going to get into all of it. There's a lot of news. We're going to talk a little bit about the Liverpool match coming up. International break almost over. So I think we're all happy for that. There's some international matches being played today. But yeah, before we get into the show, please make sure you smash the like button because it helps the channel grow and it is a big help. So make sure you get that done for us. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon as well so you don't miss a live and you stay up to date. But I'm just going to jump straight into it, to the big one, to the one that everybody wants to talk about and wants to know what is the updates surrounding the potential takeover, potential bid for a takeover. And it's one that isn't one that's going to probably get people jumping up and down. Now, I will say this. When the news broke, I was under no illusion that a bid was about to be made in the next week or so or something like that. I think it seemed very unlikely, even from the news that was coming out from Turkey Al Sheikh's tweet and etc. I don't think that was ever going to really be the case. My excitement was that there is somebody out there or a group of people that are looking to do so. They are looking to put in a bid. They are planning, they are plotting, they are working to make a bid at some point. I think that's still true, even with the updates that have come out, which they haven't necessarily dispelled any of that. The only thing that's really come out is basically just the distancing, because Turkey Al Sheikh said that, they were in advanced stages. And advanced stages, in reality, you would assume that a bid is coming quite quick, or that there's talks already ongoing and that things might be snowballing. But there's a couple reasons why that really couldn't have been a thing, because of the stock market, because we're on the stock market. If it reaches a certain stage where it is advanced and it's close to being sort of a done deal, it does need to be announced by the Glazers and the club to the stock exchange. So I don't think that was ever the case, because the story kind of came out of nowhere because of Turkey. Pretty much we didn't hear anything before that, and nobody knew anything about that. So there's no way that it was actually to the point where it was close. If this thing does happen, it's probably going to take at least a year. I mean, the first time around it took almost 2 years to do. So the only thing is that I'm still happy and I'm still excited that there's potentially a group of people that are looking to get a full sale of Manchester United. And if it takes a year to happen, or it takes 2 years, I will certainly wait it out, because it's better to have that than to have nothing at all. But I will give you the update. We had some, we've had Laurie Whitwell commenting on it. I think Andy Mitten has said something on it. Ben Jacobs and what's his name? Chris Wheeler have said things about it today. Yeah. So let's just go into let's start off with Laurie Whitwell. Okay, and Laurie Whitwell was speaking on Turkey Al Sheikh's tweet about United being in advanced talks to sell to an investor. And the quote goes as follows. He said, if he puts something out there like that, he's talking about Turkey, there's some reason to it, I would say. However, I've got no information to that degree, and United were taken back by it. That being said, the nuance of this is there's a relationship with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazer family, an unusual construct with them being majority owners, the Glazers, and Sir Jim running the club in all aspects. How long will that be the case, he says. Then he goes on to say, we can get onto drag along rights soon, but the Glazers could be having talks about their own shares, and Ratcliffe wouldn't know. I'm not saying that's happening. I don't have any information to that. He then went on to say, I slid Turkey a DM and asked him if he'd like to clarify anything about his statement. He didn't reply, but he did go public. He basically said that I'm not involved, but I've heard suggestions to that extent that back up the first tweet. It's interesting. Let's see what comes out of that. Again, we've talked about this on the past couple shows so far since this has come about, right? There is nothing that is imminent. I think that's fair to say. I think it's a fair claim. I don't think that means that there is no potential of a deal. I don't think that means that the deal or the potentiality of the deal is dead. I think it's just where we are. I think a lot of people might have gotten a bit too excited because and a little bit not their fault because of the way Turkey said it, yeah. And I think they felt like, oh, this could happen, you know, next week or in a couple weeks or in a month. Maybe something gets announced that, you know, the Glazers have sold the club. But again, that can never be the case because we're on the New York Stock Exchange. There's rules about that, yeah. And I said this on the last show, and I said that I believe that they can't be that far advanced. But one of the important things that he says, because I think it kind of gets lost in this when you have the journalists coming with these sort of updates, basically dispelling that anything is actually on the horizon. I mean, when you read it in one way, where it says, you know, the club is taken aback, they had no information to that degree about any potential sale. I think the important part is where he says that the Glazers could be having talks about their own shares and Ratcliffe wouldn't know. And I've hit home on this idea before. There is no reason that Sir Jim Ratcliffe or anybody employed at Manchester United would need to know if a consortium from the UAE or people from any other place that are looking to buy Manchester United and want to put in a bid, because it's not up for sale, technically. It's not technically up for sale. We're not in, you know, the first round when we went through this whole thing where the Glazers came out and actually put it up potentially for sale or a partial sale. We're not there. Yeah, this is something where the Glazers have done their deal. They're chilling, and there could be people out there that would like to buy the club, and it's not formally for sale, but you can always try to make a bid. You could always contact the Glazers and try and make them an offer of some sort in some sort of way. And see if they are interested in, you know, furthering discussions. And that's just pretty much where this is right now. I think there is you know, it's been confirmed by, I believe it was Ben Jacobs, saying that there is a consortium in the UAE that are putting together things to go and put in a bid. So it's not all hope is lost. We just need to have more patience and time, and maybe something comes out of this. Maybe nothing ever does come out of this. Maybe a bid never actually does go in. Maybe this does just, you know, fiddle away. But I still find it exciting, and I'm still happy that there's potentially somebody out there that would be willing to put in sort of a bid for the club. And I hope something does, you know, come out of this, you know, eventually. Andy Minton was speaking about Turkey Al-Sheikh's tweet, and he said that I don't have any evidence of the investment being true. I'm a little bit skeptical because I've seen people say things that doesn't end up being true. Then they say, whoa, I'm only saying what I've heard, when they realize there's a level of scrutiny to this to back up what they've said. He went on to say he would be aware of the scrutiny. I would have thought Rio Ferdinand would have been aware when he said the deal was about to go through and Man United were going to be taken over by Qatar. From Manchester United's perspective, they've got absolutely no idea about this, but the Glazers are hardly going to be ringing journalists, are they? And again, I think that's the biggest thing, because people will take this news and be like, there's no deal, it was fake, you know, it's done. And again, I think Turkey, maybe he wrote it slightly the wrong way. You know, in the way he said it's an advanced, because advanced to a lot of people would mean that they are sitting down with the Glazers and there's a deal potentially about to be done soon. That's not the case. So, but again, I think it's many people are aware. I'm aware, and even the journalists that are bringing out this news, and they're saying that, listen, there's nothing that's imminent. There's no bid has gone in. There's nothing to really say that a bid is incoming soon per se. But there isn't still 100% confirmation that this was totally made up and this is totally fake and there's no there, because again, the Glazers don't have to tell anybody if they don't want to. And the way the Glazers are, they wouldn't tell anybody until they have to legally. They wouldn't tell anybody. You know, if they don't need to talk to the media, if they don't need to tell Sir Jim, if they don't need to tell anybody at United, until a certain point, they're not going to do that until they have to, until they are legally obligated to do so, because obviously they want to not be in trouble legally. Yeah, they're going to cover themselves in that way. But up until that point, I don't expect the Glazers, if there are any sort of talk, I don't expect the Glazers, they're not going to bring up any journalists. They're not going to leak anything to the journalists, you know, until there's some sort of actual concrete sort of structure to this. But that's two sort of big journalists, again, kind of dispelling the story to the point, but they can't 100% say that. I mean, there's no way to really for them to find out if the Glazers are having discussions with people. You know, the Glazers can be having a sort of a back and forth discussion with a consortium from UAE that's not really advanced, but it's kind of just you know, an informal sort of meeting about it. And they could be having these discussions in the background, and nobody needs to know, and nobody's gonna know until they want you to know. So another one that goes with this is Laurie Whitwell talking about on the Glazers and Ineos drag-along rights expiring. So we've talked about this a little bit, but Laurie Whitwell is saying the drag-along rights in this aspect are a facility for the Glazers to force Ratcliffe to sell his stake in the club. They had an 18-month period of exclusivity where that could not happen, but now that that has now passed. We are at the point now where theoretically the Glazers could sell the whole club to somebody else, and Ratcliffe would not be able to stop it. The only thing at the moment is the share price up until February 2027. It has to be $33 per share or more, which is what Ratcliffe bought his shares for, so he gets his money back basically. Past that point, the Glazers could sell the club for less than that point, so there's no bar there. It's interesting when you speak to people about this in terms of what this means. Some say it's in the Glazers' interest to get a deal in place before February 2027 because it gives competitive tension and gets them higher priced for their shares. Also, after that point, why would anybody want to buy the club now? Because they have the automatic minimum there, $33 per share. Why wouldn't you just wait until February 2027? I'm theorizing here. Maybe all the chatter is the Glazers trying to get some interest going before the deadline to get this same sort of price. I mean, again, Laurie Whitwell bringing up some good points and also some good information in this one. And this is why he's considered, you know, a top sort of journalist in this aspect. But I think it's fair. There's a bit of chatter going on talking about, and I'll get to the chat. I'm not ignoring the chat. I just can't see the chat right now, so I apologize. But get your points in, get your opinions in, put them in. But what I was saying was about this specifically. There's been a lot of talk with, you know, kind of had the deal between the Glazers and Sir Jim Ratcliffe is kind of set up. Sir Jim is sort of, many people look at it. It certainly feels that way to me. Like Sir Jim is kind of in a really bad position on this to get burned by the Glazers. I don't think anybody has any sympathy for Sir Jim if that does happen to him, because at the end of the day, he did get in bed with the Glazers. We don't like the Glazers. We don't trust the Glazers for numerous and obvious reasons. He decided to do so. He's come out, I think, more than 3 or 4 times already, basically defending the Glazers, saying the Glazers are good people and they have a bad reputation. They get a bad rep for no reason, which again is a total opposite outlook of Manchester United fans. Now, with all that in mind, I've still given him, you know, an opportunity, him and Ineos. I still give them an opportunity to show what they could do. I still giving them chances. They're still going to get some chances because we're in the middle of a season and they're not. It's not like they're gonna leave tomorrow. Yeah, so they're still gonna be here and they still have opportunities to prove that they can make this work. There's some reservations, obviously, but this point on, you know, I think with the Glazers, again, it's very hard. You can kind of gauge them as what kind of people they are, but it's difficult to be inside their head at all times, yeah? Because I think there's a couple different things here that have an impact, and when I think about it, sometimes I think about it one way, and my other brain, the other part of my brain does this thing where it thinks sort of the opposite, and it's it kind of splits into two paths, and I kind of see it like, well, it could go this way and they could do and go this way about it, but they could go this way about it. Both seem plausible because it kind of both fits the Glazers kind of attitude towards things. But basically what I'm trying to say is when he says, when you speak to people about his terms, about the terms, and some say that the Glazers' interest is to get a deal in place before February 2027. So, I mean, they made the period of exclusivity for 18 months. Now, there's this sort of two ways of thinking. Glazers are in it for the long run. They have a new stadium coming. They're not paying for the stadium. They're going to stay here for the next maybe 5+ years after the stadium's built, and then maybe look to sell. So they're not going to really go anywhere, yeah? But, I mean, if you do this deal, I would bring up or I would ask a question as to why was the exclusivity period only for 18 months? Wouldn't they maybe want to make it longer if they're thinking about staying for much longer? It seems a bit short term when you're thinking about in general for the next 5-10 years. So there's that. There's also the fact that with this sort of clause that's here, they could possibly be looking or be pushing to now sell, because anybody that wants to buy the club now has to pay the premium, because the Glazers are literally not allowed to sell the club for less than $33 per share, which gets them a premium amount, which is the money they pretty much want. So it seems like they kind of built this in on purpose, hoping that after it comes in, and many people have speculated this, that Sir Jim was kind of brought in to get the finances under control, clean up the club, cut out wasteful costs, kind of gut the club a little bit, yeah, like they do to businesses, and prep it for a sale so that it looks way better financially, so it looks way better on the books, it looks a little bit more enticing. Which could be the case, because I mean, if they put an 18-month period, and maybe Sir Jim wanted it to protect himself as well, and maybe there's alternate motives to this 18-month period. Maybe Sir Jim wanted it. I feel like Sir Jim would have wanted it longer, though. Maybe the Glazers didn't agree to that, and they agreed on some sort of time frame for it. But I mean, if you're the Glazers and you want to get the most money out of it, sort of on a guarantee, then you would kind of want to sell before 2027, because it forces the buyer to have to pay $33 a share, because it is literally illegal for the Glazers to sell the club for less than $33 per share, because that's what Sir Jim paid. If you don't get a sale until after February 2027, they can sell it for any price they want, and they can sell it for less than the $33 per share. But if you're the Glazers, why would you want to end up selling it for less? Why would you want to wait? I think it also opens you up for, the new buyer to kind of lowball you a little bit if you are looking to sell, or maybe you get into a position to sell. I think it's a bit risky from their aspect. I think if they're having second thoughts about it, and they're like, you know what, maybe we should just kind of see if we can get out and get somebody to buy it, you would want to do it within the next year. You wouldn't want to wait until after 2027, because whoever it is. I mean, the stock price for the club is I think it's at like $16 a share right now. So it's about, you know, you would have to pay pretty much double what it is right now to get it right now. Whereas after, somebody could come in, maybe our situation worsens, maybe we don't get European football, we miss out on Europe again, and we have a really bad season and things are looking quite dull, and you know, somebody that comes in that wants to make a bid, they're not going to offer $33 per share, and they might end up being stuck in a position where they might have to take less if they want to get out. So and then just one of the other things, Chris Wheeler is saying the Glazers would demand in excess of 6.6 billion US dollars, which is 5 billion pounds to sell up. The previous Qatari bid, led by Sheikh Jassim Al Thani, would only go as high as $6 billion, which is 4.57 billion pounds. But that isn't to say another Middle East consortium won't meet the asking price. The one Al Sheikh has alluded to is believed to be UAE based. And again, it's a little bit like a match, this thing, yeah? I mean, I feel like that's kind of what it is like. Like, Turkey kind of lit a match in the aspect that you light a match, and now the match has a sort of a short fuse to it, yeah? And in that time, it could catch and light a bigger fire, or it gets to the end of the matchstick and it goes out. And I kind of feel like that's what this is, because this is either just going to completely sort of die out and not really be mentioned of again at some point, or maybe it goes quiet for a little bit, but it does come back up. And the reason why I say that, like, there's sort of it's sort of like a matchstick, is because unless they do a deal totally 100% behind closed doors, which they can't really, right? Somebody can be very far ahead in a certain aspect in negotiations, but they can only go so far. But if a UAE consortium actually puts in a bid for the club and the Glazers consider it, that can spark, I mean, just total chaos, because I would assume only that, you know, Qatar and Sheikh Jassim would probably be looking to come back into the fray for this, amongst some other, you know, people or investors or whatever, probably, you know, thinking about, well, it wasn't really up for sale, but I mean, if they're looking at this, we might as well jump into the ring and throw our hat into the ring as well. So, it could spark like a whole flurry of just bids if one goes in and they actually take the time to look at it. So, let's get to the chat, though. I hope everybody's doing well. I think I've lost part of the chat as well, so I can't really see the top. But Steph's here. Shout out Steph, and Axelord is here. And Lucky is here as well. How you guys doing? Steph says, will Glazer subtract $2 billion of their debt off the value? I doubt it. No, they won't do that. They won't do that. The way it's set up is how it is. Yeah. They will not. The way they have it set up, they don't take the debt into account. Yeah, they pretty much say, listen, that's not ours. The debt has nothing to do with us, even though it absolutely does. But you know them. I'm like highly confident. I mean, that was one of the problems that Sheikh Jassim or Qatar, whatever you want to call them, had a problem, because the Glazers are asking for a specific amount of money, and basically Qatar is like, listen, Qatar was basically being like, I have to clear your debt that you put onto the club. That's like about $1 billion. And you're asking for this amount of money. So we're pretty much giving you the money. And the Glazers didn't accept that. They're like, no. They're like, that debt is the club's debt. That has nothing to do with us. We want our money, our cash in the amount. You're buying the club. When you buy it, you deal with the debt. It's part of the club. It's part of the business. You know, it has nothing to do with the Glazers. Even though it does 100%. So, Axe says I don't buy it. You don't buy what? He says, "Is this Sheik is truly a fan of United and he wants to buy, he would do so immediately. The Glazers ask for 5 billion." Yeah, okay. So, well, the thing is, Axe, Turkey is not trying to buy the club. He stated multiple times that he's not, it's not him, and it's not coming from Saudi Arabia. He doesn't really have much to do with it other than he is a fan of Manchester United and he would like to see a new ownership in charge. He would like to see the Glazers gone. He was heard something or was given indirect news from somebody that he apparently knows that there is somebody looking to purchase the club. That's what he said. So also, what you're saying is the Glazers asked for 5 billion, they should come with 15 billion. Nobody's gonna do that. Again, these rich people, it's kind of like a sport to them, yeah? You don't do stupid deals. And they don't have all the money that they have by being careless with their money. So nobody's going to pay 15 billion because 6 billion is already an overinflated price, and that's a lot. And also, when you take over Manchester United, you're still going to have to spend another billion or two in total for everything or more to do the complete overhaul that you need. So it's not just about Glazers want 5, let's give him 7, because then you have to invest another 3 billion. You're going to 10 billion. And that's, even if you have all the money in the world, it's a bit ridiculous, yeah? So that's never going to work like that. And you're talking about the Sheik. It's not a Sheik. I mean, it's United Arab UAE. United Arab Emirates. Which is supposedly the consortium. I mean, we don't even have like full disclosure of what consortium that is exactly. They say that there's a group, UAE, that's about confirmed, but who's leading it, who's the head of it, who's the face of it, how many people does it involve, we don't really know those details. So Lucky says, if we keep losing games, we will have to sell either Jim Ratcliffe fully or Saudi Arabia. Yeah, but I don't think not like that. That wouldn't take another few years, probably. I mean, the thing is, they have a new stadium on the horizon, yeah? So there's always that. You got to keep that in the back of your mind as well. They might just be willing to stick around for that. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think Saudi Arabian consortium is interested in buying Manchester United. They've denied this multiple times. So, Lyle's here as well. Yeah, I was wondering what why is the Lyle, why is the username different or whatever? I was looking at that. I didn't know what was going on. So, but yeah, I mean, let me just refresh this real quick just to make sure that there isn't any other updates about that. But yeah, pretty much that's what we got on that. There isn't really anything else. So I expect this to sort of go quiet for a little bit. I don't think it'll go away 100% because I think what we've gotten out of today is that there is a group in the UAE that are putting things together and creating a plan and putting things together to get to a point to eventually put in an actual bid. So I think that I think that part is real because no one has really been able to deny that. Nobody has gotten anything to say that that is completely false. And I think like Chris Wheeler or whoever was trying to contact some people out there. And he did get back the information that, you know, there is sort of a consortium out there that has approached United players and legends to be ambassadors for this bid of when they make it. They want these guys part of the bid, not investors, not owners, but they will be sort of kind of like the faces of it. They're going to be involved in some way. So you know, for that much and that part, that is true. It is there is something there. It just remains to be seen if anything is actually gonna come out of it. And if it does come out of it, I still think it's gonna take some time. Maybe we'll end up seeing it later on. Maybe they're waiting for 2027. Yeah, maybe, you know, we don't know. Listen, this is, to do something like this is absolutely massive. Yeah, it's a big piece of business. You need a lot of details, and you need a thorough plan, and you need to get everything in order and stuff like that, and that stuff takes a lot of time to do. Yeah, so this could be, we could be sort of at the start of this in terms of UAE. They might have just recently started this. They might be doing planning, and they might be putting together their plan and their whole bid and the structure of it for a whole year. You know, and to really make sure that they have something very concrete and solid. It could take a year, it could take 6 months. Maybe they're planning, and you know, they're gonna put everything together, and they're kind of gonna, maybe they're gonna wait to see how things go, because if United, I think like Lucky said, to a certain degree, if United keeps finishing in bad positions outside of Europe, we're playing bad football and we're getting bad results. I mean, if you do that last season, you do that this season, and you do it next season, that's 3 to 4 seasons in a row that United have been absolutely awful. And it might be a very good time to go in and try and buy the club, because the project is obviously then failing at that point, and things are kind of on the floor, and you could kind of swoop in and maybe get a deal out of that. So again, I'm still very sort of happy that, to know that somewhere out there in the world there is people that are making a plan, and their intention is to make a bid for the club. And I hope that it comes to fruition at some point. I'd rather it take some time than nothing being done at all. So, I mean, we'll see. I do expect this story to kind of go quiet for a little bit, and then probably after some certain amount of time, it'll pop back up. Maybe we'll get more details. Maybe it'll be a bit more serious. So, I mean, there's always the possibility we never hear of it again. I feel like that's a little bit... I feel like it's a little bit unlikely at this point, but could happen for sure. I mean, you can't, like, you know, you can't discredit that wouldn't happen. So again, Lucky, I don't know how you think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is just going to buy more shares. I mean, he needs the money for it, which he doesn't have in his hand. He doesn't have the money in his hand. I understand he's a billionaire, yeah, and he's worth some 17 billion or whatever it is net worth, but he would have to sell assets, because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the cash in his hand. So he would have to do that, and then also, he still needs to go to the Glazers about it. And I think Sir Jim is kind of happy with where he is right now, because I don't think Sir Jim... I think the reason why Sir Jim did a partial deal and changed his mind is because I don't think Sir Jim is 100% convinced that this thing is going to actually work out. And I don't think Sir Jim wants to sink all that money into United and have it go sideways, and he's going to lose all his investment. I mean, it's kind of very risky, because United need a lot of work done to it. And even if you get a new ownership, yeah, like even if we get Saudi or UAE or whoever it is with a lot of money, when they come in, it's still going to take 3 to 5 years to make United what we want it to be. It's still going to take time. It'll move in a different sort of pace in certain aspects, like in terms of like player transfers and stuff like that. We could probably be buying way more at a faster pace. We could be doing actual January transfer window deals where we buy maybe like 3 players in January, you know, instead of one, or possibly one, maybe not even one. Sometimes we don't even do one, you know, but the stadium would still take time, upgrading facilities, you know, searching for new people at the club in terms of, you know, whether it's data analytics or scouts or whatever. I mean, that stuff is gonna it's gonna take time. You're gonna grow that over a certain period of time. So it's not like it's gonna happen imminently. But there are certain aspects that you can do much quicker, much faster with a lot more. I mean, one specific thing for us would be clearing the debt, opening up the revenue streams, and being able to spend a lot more money than we can right now because of our financial sort of, well, our football status, the financial status. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm seeing the handles lie. I'm seeing the handles instead of the names. I was like confused. Ax says I'm wrong. He said Turkey will sell the. I don't know if he's saying I'm wrong. I think he might be saying that Lucky's wrong. Now you're wrong. Turkey will sell the Bosphorus Strait and use the money to buy Manchester United. All right. Well, I mean, listen. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not discrediting you. I literally don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. I would have to look into that. I don't know what those things are that you're mentioning. But I mean, I'm just saying that he denied that he's involved. He denied that his country, which is Saudi Arabia, is involved in this. Also, I think it's quite hard for them to get involved because of the ownership of other clubs in the Premier League. There's a conflict of interest, so I don't know how they would be able to navigate around that. Because it is quite different. I mean, you can have multiple American investors in Premier League clubs at different clubs. But when it comes from state-owned sort of Middle East, it's everybody knows the landscape and how it is, and it's a bit more difficult to kind of sell it that it's independent, especially if the same sort of nation is buying multiple clubs in the Premier League. So I don't know. I don't really feel like Saudi Arabia can really get involved in any aspect because of what they already own. I don't think it would be allowed. I don't think it would probably I don't think they would be able to slide around it because I think there would be a large, and especially you have to remember as well, even if they try to do that, at the end of the day, it's Manchester United, and listen, everybody's going to make a huge deal. They're going to bitch and moan that this deal should not happen, that it's not allowed, because it's United. They don't want us to come back. They don't want us to be good. They don't want us to get this investment. You know, I was listening to Rivals on other fan channels the other day, and they all know. They all know, and they are well aware that, you know, a few of them were saying, I am scared if you guys get these new owners, because most likely you guys will be back. I mean, they're not stupid. They banter us, but they know that the Glazers are holding us back. They know that the Glazers have sunk our club and drowned us. And they know that if you get a mega rich owner, like Newcastle has gotten, like Manchester City has gotten, or PSG, and they know with our fan base, with our revenues, with the amount of sponsorships that we can pull in, with the money that we already generally have, we would go over every club. Yeah, Newcastle has the richest owners in the world. They can't even use the money because they don't have the means to use it. They don't have the fan base. They don't have the international pull. They don't have the views. They don't have the eyes. We already have all that. If we got anybody close to like their owners or City's owners or PSG's owners with all that money, we would instantly go straight to the top. Nobody would be touching us in terms of financials. we would clear the debt. There would be people lining up because it's a new owner. There would be people lining up for sponsorship deals. We would be making a ton of new sponsorship deals, bringing in basically record revenues nobody's seen about, and we would be able to funnel all this money in legally under the guidelines of PSR and FFP. And that would be a huge problem for all the other clubs because our spending power would be massive compared to all the other Premier League clubs right now. And that would come off of the bat of we're not even successful in this period in time. Is Jim Ratcliffe quite happy situation? Doubt that. Ag says Ratcliffe is an idiot. Well, I mean, if you think so, I find it hard to call somebody that's a billionaire an idiot. But I mean, idiot to football, sure, probably, because I say he doesn't know anything about football. A general idiot, I mean, I can't really say that about the guy. But when it comes to football, sure, I don't think he really knows anything about football. Again, I've never really bought the whole lifelong United fan thing. I mean, he could be, but when he says that, it makes it seem like he's like me and you, which I don't think he is. Yeah, I you know, when he says like I'm a lifelong Manchester United fan, it makes it seem like it comes across, and a lot of people took it as, oh, he watches all the matches like us, you know, like us. He's one of us. He's one of us. He watches the matches. He loves football. I never took it that way. He's certainly a casual, yeah, at best. He's a casual with limited knowledge about football. I mean, it's quite obvious. We need Turkey in now. Erdogan as a CEO and CR7 as PR manager. Well, the thing about Ronaldo is that he does have plans to buy a club at one point. He said it before. But obviously he's still playing, so that I think we're a little bit far away from that. But I'm going to be interested to see what happens with that, because I do believe Cristiano will go and, you know, buy a club or be in charge of some sort of club in some sort of way. And I think that's going to be crazy when that happens. But Lyle says Turkey can't buy the club because he is from Saudi Arabia. Newcastle is owned by the Saudis. Thank you. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to do that. You know, even if it wasn't Turkey, and even if it wasn't specifically, you know, the conglomerate that owns Newcastle, yeah, even if they tried to have a different part that comes from Saudi, I don't think it would get accepted. It wouldn't get accepted by, you know, just like the Premier League in general, but it wouldn't get accepted by the journalists, fans. I mean, they would make such a huge deal about that. They wouldn't want it to happen, and they would pressure as much as possible for that deal to fall through, because it's United, and they don't want us to come back, and they don't want us to be good, and they don't want us to get this new owner. You know, the people that hate us, they wish, you know, 1,000-year reign of the Glazers to never live, to never leave, because they don't want us to come back. So if you give them even an inch to kind of, you know, get behind something to put public pressure for this to not happen, I mean, they're going to jump on it, yeah? So, Grace is here, so shout out Grace. Who's been watching the random videos I've been posting in the Discord? I have not, but I will check them out. Where have you been posting those? And what channel have you been posting those? And besides, like Lyle said, besides Turkey's the face of Saudi sport investments, he's not involved. Yeah, he's not involved. Access, to be honest, is just a PR move, fake news to get fans excited and bring in sponsors. Maybe, but I mean, I don't really know what he has to do with it. I mean, how does he benefit from that? How does Turkey benefit from that? He has nothing to do with Manchester United. He's not making money from it. And I don't think it's fake news when you have some of the journalists that followed up on it. I think the only discredit was that he made it seem like it might be imminent, which I never thought it can't be imminent because they would have to announce it. But what's come out of this from the journalists like Ben Jacobs and others is that there is a group in the UAE that is putting a plan together to make a bid. Their objective is to put a bid in for Manchester United full ownership. So it's not fake news. It's not fake news. They didn't make it up. There is something happening. It's just not at the stage that many people were hoping for. And there's still a lot of unknown details at this moment in time. And I think that's going to be natural. And again, I think this will probably go quiet for some time. And it'll probably pop back up in a form one way or another. At some other point. It could be months. I would expect it to be sort of months because I don't think they're really at the stage where they're ready to put in a bid. I think they are putting in the groundwork to put in a bid. So I expect these things take time. They're going to take quite a long time. It's not just like, you know, it's kind of a bit like Football Manager, isn't it? I mean, when you get that little news about, you know, a rumor takeover, but then it never happens, does it? It never actually does happen in Football Manager, yeah? Especially if you're United and you start a season with United and like about 3 months into your season, there's like rumors of a takeover bid and you're like, God, please. Even in Football Manager, you're like, please take us over. I want to spend money. You know, you're going to get that cash injection. And then you always get that news update that, you know, it wasn't real and it never happens and then it just goes away. But, yeah, I think that's kind of where we are. Like, there's a potential, you know, talk about potentially, and it's probably going to take a few months to see where it actually goes. Grace says, can you stop talking badly about my daddy? He's back in my life after 34 years and he's a great guy. Wait, who said that? Wait, what? Wait, who's been talking badly about your dad? Turkey is selling Bosphorus Strait to buy Manchester United. What is I don't know what that is. Now you're gonna make me Google it in the middle of the show. Bosphorus Strait in Turkey. All right, so you're just making up shit, yeah? What does it have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? How is a place in Turkey have anything to do with this? I don't know how I don't know how the region works. I don't know what you're saying. Bosphorus is in Istanbul. Turkey is not owned by Saudi Arabia. So you're just trolling, yeah? Lucky says 2 of them Saudi Arabia consortium along with group investments. UAE. In AFC career mode, there is that investment you can take up at the beginning of the campaign. Yes, it's Turkey, bro. Axe. Stop. You're ruining the show. All right, I'm gonna move on now because we talked enough about this UAE takeover bid, whatever. All right, there's nothing really else to take over. So let's get on to some football stuff. One of the things for the people that like statistics, and I think it's an interesting talking point, because I have a thought or two about this, but oh, I don't know where that went. All right, here we go. Yeah. So here's a statistic. Manchester United have the best attack in the Premier League this season with 15.72 XG created, ahead of Arsenal, who have 13.75, and Chelsea, 12.94. You could ignore the bottom part because person likes to put in their own comment, but I saw this. Again, I'm not a big stats guy. I don't follow the graphs and the lines and, you know, those little fucking things that they got going all over the place that are hard to read that, you know, regular football people don't really understand. But XG is XG. It's an accepted sort of big stat, right? Well, I think it gives a clear indication. Again, some of the performances might not be beautiful. Some of them, a couple of them have been bad in terms of showing up and playing. But I've been saying the attack, I mean, we are creating chances. We are sort of kind of right there. We need to be more clinical. Our clinicalness is awful. Yeah. The fact that we are creating more XG than Arsenal, who's at the top of the league, and Chelsea, who's above us, there is an indication that we are doing good things on the pitch. The reason why we're suffering is because we're not scoring the goals. And I've been saying this for over a year now. We will not win and we will not succeed if we don't put the ball in the back of the net. Now, I think when you look at this, we certainly didn't have this statistic under Erik ten Hag in, I believe it was the second year in. Because I think the first year we did quite good in terms of attacking. But it kind of fell apart in the second season and the third season. The second season had injuries. The third season kind of coming back from the injuries. A lot of uncertainty and stuff like that. But we are creating the chances. I mean, I remember at a point under Ten Hag, we were like, we're not creating chances. We were literally having one shot on goal in 70 minutes of a football match. That is not the case now. We are still struggling to score, but we are creating way more chances, and they are there for the taking. But we got to take our opportunity, and we need to figure out how to be clinical, because if we can up our finishing stats instead of being like 15th in the league for conversion to, I don't know, 7th or something, that's a lot more points on the board. That's a lot more positive results on the board. The more goals you score, the more you should win. Yeah, it's kind of simple in that standpoint. So again, not everything is, we're not perfect by nowhere near clear. We have many problems. But I keep saying, I think if this man here, yeah, can figure out how to get the players to figure out how to be more clinical and score more goals, we'll solve one of the major problems that we have. We're still going to have a problem in the midfield. We still might have problems defensively as well. Maybe, just maybe, with the introductions of Lemons, we get rid of that problem in the goalkeeping department. Still yet to be seen. Only one appearance. We got to see how he does, and we need to see how he does when he suffers a setback and how he handles that. We haven't hit that yet, so there's a lot of things that still need to happen to really know the full story. He looks good. I hope he is the answer. I like what I saw from him in his debut. But we're gonna have to see when he does get tested. In terms of, I expect him to make a mistake somewhere. All goalkeepers make mistakes, but I think like Schmeichel said, it's about how you handle yourself after you make the mistake. And the great goalkeepers, they get back up, they shake it off, and they perform well after fucking up. All goalkeepers make mistakes. Alisson's made mistakes. Ederson's made mistakes. Donnarumma's made mistakes. All goalkeeper, Courtois has made mistakes. All great goals. Schmeichel has made shit mistakes, but he's still a United legend. De Gea has made mistakes, and he's considered a legend as well. All goalkeepers make mistakes, but it's about how you handle yourself afterwards. So, the statistics is we haven't won 2 games in a row. Well, that is another statistic, yes, and we need to get that out. I think it's a bad time, because I don't expect to win the match against Liverpool. I don't. I think there's a good chance that we can do something, because they have a little bit of injuries and they were also in bad form. I still have reservations, because I think the international break has done us a disservice. And that's just a gut feeling that I have. It won't go away. It's bothering me. It's been bothering me. And it's probably going to keep bothering me until we actually play the match. Also, I mean, with us at the current moment in time, I mean, like Grace has pointed out, we were unable to win back-to-back matches, so that doesn't go in our favor. And you just don't know exactly what we're going to do on the day. We could turn up and be brilliant. We could turn up and be the most shit you've ever seen. That's a bit scary. It also makes it a bit hard to kind of put your finger on what to really expect, because I think you could generally say, yeah, we'll get outplayed, we'll be shit. But then when that happens, our team over the past few years decides to come out and play a really, really good game and look really good and look really strong. You get sort of encouraged by that. And then they go into the next game and they play like they've never played together before. So it's always very inconsistent. And I mean, even Ruben has said before that, you know, the scary part is that he doesn't know what he's going to get. And I think there was other managers there that also have said things like that, where they just don't know what they're going to get. I mean, Axe says we played like shit. XG is irrelevant. We can't defend. We barely scored. Come on. I mean, XG is not irrelevant. It's not. It's a statistic that's highly rated, actually, which is why it's literally everywhere. Yeah, it has a slight indication. And all I'm saying, based on the XG, is that we are creating chances. So if we can score more goals, it doesn't really matter if our defending is, if we can't really defend, because attack is the best defense, and we're outscoring our opponents, and we're changing game. See, in the Sunderland match, we almost conceded first. We didn't, and we scored. And because we scored first, and we kept going, I know it's Sunderland, but we scored first, and we kept going, and we got a second, the game came under our control. Whereas when we go into matches in a time where we are, you know, struggling and we're not full of confidence, it is important to not concede first. It is important that if you have early opportunities, you want the ball being put in the net. A goal early on for us, scoring, after we create 2-3 chances in the first 10 minutes of the match, is very important. It's very important that we actually put the ball in the net, because our team is in a battle right now mentally on the pitch. Because if we create a couple good chances and we don't score, the opponents kind of get like a bit of a boost, because they were under pressure, they survived through it, and they start pushing, and the pressure comes back shifting on us. But we got nothing to stop that, because, and we probably go a little bit down, because it's like, fuck, here we go. Like, you know, we made 3 chances. How did we not score? We didn't score. You know, and they start going into the game, and we start going down into the game. So there's the difference of but there's a difference of we're not creating any chances. The attack is, to a certain extent, fine. The only thing that's missing is the last bit, which is the ball going into the net, which is what they have to figure out how to get done. So, Lucky, please don't spam a lot of messages, please. Grace, Grace says, if Liverpool see this stat, I don't think they will turn up Sunday and just forfeit. Well, that would be good. Lucky says, all we need to do, have mentality, power. Aiden Heaven, Mateus Delit, Lenny Oro, Mason Mount back. Well, Aiden Heaven has gotten injured, yeah? So he, unfortunately, and I feel bad, but he's going to be out for a little bit. He's going to be out for a little bit. So, and I do have updates about that. Manchester United injury news. We've been doing the international. Thankfully, we've come out of this fairly unscathed, yeah? The only thing is that... the only thing was that Aiden Heaven had to receive extensive treatment while playing for England's under-20s and was substituted at halftime. Manager for the under-20s of England confirmed after the fixture that he didn't think the injury was too serious. It is now expected that United's medical staff will assess the 19-year-old upon his return to Carrington. So we got to wait and see, but he's obviously not going to be around or available for the Liverpool match, I think, because he has gotten an injury. Might not be serious in terms of that, you know, he's not going to be out for months, but he could be out for a couple weeks or so. One of the big ones, the biggest news, and the ones that I think a lot of us have been waiting for, I've been certainly waiting for, and I've been kind of getting sort of antsy about it, is that Lisandro Martinez is set to come back. Now, he won't feature in the Liverpool match, but he is eyeing the matches after, which I believe is Brighton and I can't remember who else. But yeah, Lisandro Martinez will step back up to first team training this week. He is eyeing the fixtures with Brighton and Nottingham Forest as targets for his return. That's what it was. So the Manchester Evening News said the club are taking no risks with his return to action, meaning he's not likely to be selected for a matchday squad for another few weeks. At the same time, oh yeah, okay. So, I mean, it's good. Leach is coming back. I think we need him. I think we miss him. I think defensively, we should look a lot better. I would like definitely to see Lisandro Martinez playing left center back over Luke Shaw. And I think a back line of Euro, De Ligt, and Martinez sounds very, very good on paper compared to whatever else you could put out in the fact of, you know, Harry Maguire or Luke Shaw playing back there. So, but I think we need to remember, and probably some people won't because this is how they are, but we do have to remember that Lisandro has been out for a long time. He's going to be very rusty when he comes back. You know, and I can already see the crystal ball where he's going to probably struggle a little bit because he's going to have to gain match fitness and he's going to have to gain, you know, sort of just routines of playing matches and training regularly and sort of getting that feeling back of being on the pitch, getting his confidence back up. I can see it now where he's struggling along the way when he comes back. This is probably going to do a period where, you know, he might be a little bit slow for pace. He might be not as sharp on the pitch. I could see some people going in on him saying he's done, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I mean, when you're out for the length of time that you're out for after the injury that he had, I mean, that's only normal. So I would say give the guy a few months, probably to really get back into, you know, his top form. I'm not going to be surprised if he looks a little sluggish, if he looks a little bit, sort of not like the player that we were used to before he got injured. I think he should get every opportunity to kind of prove that he still has it, and that he can be very, very good. I think he can. But when you have that type of injury, you don't know the impact it has on the player as well. So there's the mentality aspect to it. Grace says, "Don't spam, please." Yes. Aiden Heaven should be fine. Well, I think he's hopefully right. I feel bad that the kid will get injured. He hasn't really gotten a chance to play for us. Gets injured and he's going to be out. So, yes, Lucky types very fast, and he has a lot of things to say. Which it's not like we don't like it, but just you make it a little bit hard to read, Lucky, sometimes when you post 27 things in the chat. Yeah, so try and condense them, please, and thank you. Bro, you put like 5 billion ads. I didn't put any ads. I mean, YouTube's putting the ads. I am not inserting the ads, but what I can do is I can delay the ads. Are you guys getting, by the way, are you guys getting a lot of ads? I mean, no one's ever said anything, but Axe is saying I put 5 billion ads. Do you guys get a lot of ads during the show? Because YouTube just does it. I have it. The setting is YouTube just does it automatically, but I don't know how the ads come up. I can't see. They don't give me the ads. So, if it's quite spamish and it's quite annoying, please let me know. I will try to adjust it. I don't want that. Like Grace says, it's YouTube, not Eric. But there is a setting for it that you can try and adjust it, yeah? Please let ease in Lisandro Martinez and Mazuari. Does anybody know what's up with Mazuari? Didn't they say after the international break he should kind of be back? So, Grace says if the ad isn't a come to Malta 10% off holiday, Jet 2 holiday. For £50, you can go to Malta. 10% off. I have YouTube Premium. So you don't get ads, Lyle, yeah? Because you have YouTube Premium. They used to have something like that. Maz realized the low was better, so he gave up. Well, did the low start on the bench today for Portugal? Yeah. What do you think about that, Grace? Is Roberto Martinez a fraud for doing that? I think he started on the bench. Yeah, Bruno started, of course. I think there was a couple other things that we need to touch on real quick. So let me see. Where is Liverpool's injury updates? Just so we can talk about that real quick. Injury updates, Liverpool. Because I think a buddy of mine the other day was saying that a couple of them got injured. Yeah, so 11 hours ago, Liverpool Echo. Liverpool could be without 5 players for Manchester United clash after 2 fresh injury issues. Let's see. Ibrahima Konate was withdrawn during the loss to Chelsea and couldn't shake off a thigh injury, prompting France to confirm over the weekend that he had returned to Liverpool. The defender will undergo a late fitness assessment before the United showdown. His potential absence would represent a significant setback for Liverpool, despite his inconsistent displays in this campaign. Ryan Gravenberch filled in at centre-back when Konate was withdrawn last weekend, but Slot might not have that alternative if the former stays on the treatment table. This is because Gravenberch was withdrawn at the interval during the Netherlands' recent World Cup qualifying victory over Finland, sparking suggestions that he could miss out against United. Speaking afterwards, Dutch boss Ronald Koeman said Ryan indicated he had some minor hamstring problems. Of course, we didn't take any risks with that. Gravenberch said it was partly fitness related. This season is long, so it was a precaution. I am feeling good and have the coach's confidence. Meanwhile, goalkeeper Allison has been confirmed to be out for several weeks. They do have Marmar Shidal leave, or whatever his name is. And new signing Giovanni Leone is expected to miss the rest of the season following a serious knee injury last month. There are also worries about Wataru Endo's fitness after he pulled from Japan squad at the last minute due to an undisclosed injury. Japan's manager, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so, I mean, reading a Liverpool fan's comment here, Gomez and Virgil at centre-back, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and it has to be Jones are the midfield players. We have a manager who can adapt for the occasion, and let's put our trust in him and the squad we have. It seems that the soft lad toffees are commenting on our team. Liverpool. It's just funny to read, like, you know, rival, whatever, when you compare it to, like, United. But yeah. No ads. Oh, that's nice. He started last game, so piss off. I'm just asking a question, Grace. I invested in premium because I use YouTube on my phone a lot, and you can't ad block that shit. That is true. That is true. That is true. I don't know if I could say that because I'm technically a YouTube partner. I'm not supposed to tell people how to block the ads, and kind of hurts me as well. But I mean, I get it. You know, ads are kind of annoying. You know what I found? You know what I found last time, Lyle? There are applications. I think maybe it's a European thing. Yeah, I think it's like a European Union thing because they probably have like different laws. But when I go to Malta, like SoundCloud, for example, yeah, I use a lot of SoundCloud. Over here, when I use SoundCloud in the States, I get a shit ton of ads. Like literally every other song, it's like a 45 to 60-second ad. When I was in Malta and over in Europe, I don't even think I had an ad. Not once on SoundCloud. And even on YouTube, like when I use YouTube, when I was over there, I didn't get a lot of ads. I get a lot more ads here. I think that's like a European Union thing compared to the United States. Because yeah, I remember like watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and I was like, I barely get an ad. Maybe I get like one ad. Over here, you know, when I'm on the States, I get a ton, like 10 to 20, you know, a video depending on the length as well. So yeah, UE policy, I guess. Yeah, I think it's different. Access and invest in Manchester United pro buy from the Glazers. uh, I think we would all love to do that. But the amount of money we would need and the amount of people we would need to put it together, yeah, then how do we split the power eventually? I don't know. It would be very difficult. So there's a couple other things we got mentioned that I want to talk about. There's been some January sort of debates, news sort of you know. So we're gonna get into that. So one of them is Manchester United have Alexander Pavlovich high on their list of midfield targets for the January transfer window, and if the opportunity arises, they'll look to sign him this winter. That's coming from Footy Insider 247. Sounds a little bit like a tabloid, but I mean, again, I think we're still kind of a bit far away, but we are getting transfers sort of updates. I mean, another one is that Crystal Palace haven't made any decisions yet regarding numbers, price tags, or bids for Adam Wharton. He is a big one that is on many people's lists, and I think he's got quite numerous amounts of teams quite interested in him and his situation. And I think you could probably say, listen, a deal in January probably seems unlikely, but you can never say never. At the end of this season, when the season's over, I think he won't be at Crystal Palace anymore. I think he's going to go somewhere to some team in the Premier League, whether that's us or somebody else. But I don't think he's going to make it past this season at Crystal Palace. I think this is probably the last season. Yeah. So another statistic, I guess. Sort of. This one's coming from Statman Dave. That Manchester United have spent a higher percentage of their Premier League campaign leading games than Liverpool this season. I mean, listen, just on the cards. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think many of us are really confident that we're gonna beat Liverpool. I think we have a hope. I think we have sort of still like the United spirit that we need to win, we must win. But I think we know the circumstances of the match. But I mean, there is a big opportunity to really make a big sort of splash of noise, and I would say, you know, for Ruben Amorim's case, if you are gonna if there was ever sort of a time, or I guess a fixture, to win fans back in your favor, or reinstill positivity, confidence, it would be getting a result against Liverpool, because it would the circumstances, if we win, it's an upset. It's an upset in every which way. We're not home. We're away from home. I mean, the difference in sort of class in the squads between Liverpool and United at the current moment in time is big. And I think if you held the poll for the general sort of public, I think there's probably few people, like, you know, Arsenal fans and others, that are hoping that we win because they view Liverpool as, you know, the top contender for the league, so they want us to take points off of them. But I think if you had a general poll, but most football fans, random fans of random clubs, I think it would be quite high in Liverpool's favor. Yeah, they are the favorites. So if there was ever a time to kind of hit a bunch of boxes, you get a win against Liverpool away from home, total upset. Confidence would be coming flying back in for Ruben Amorim. People would be jumping up joy and down. They would be very positive. The backing would definitely come back in, and you could win your two consecutive games back to back, all in one shot. So I mean, it's there. There's an opportunity. You could make it happen, but there's a difference between what's the likeliness of it happening. But he has a shot. He has an opportunity, and you got you know, you want things to happen and go your way. You got to take it. So we're gonna have to see. Just on the Liverpool match as well, Michael Oliver has been appointed as the referee for the Liverpool versus Manchester United clash. You know what that means. Liverpool is going to be probably heavily involved in the match. Yeah, LIVAR pool. The last time Oliver officiated the exact fixture, he booked the low for winning the ball and sent them off for appealing. And I will say this, I almost can guarantee, although I probably shouldn't do this, but I don't care. I can almost guarantee, and somebody's going to say I jinxed us, but I can guarantee you, I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's like a fucking 75% chance we probably get a red card. We get a red card, we get a penalty against us, some bullshit. I'm telling you right now, some bullshit in this match is going to happen with Michael Oliver being in here, yeah? He clearly hates United more than anything. I think he hates United and Arsenal the most, yeah? I don't know what his preference is in terms of a team, but he seems to be on the Manchester City payroll. And from time to time, he seems to help out Liverpool, yeah? But when it comes to United and Arsenal, he's always 100. Everything is always against us when he's involved, yeah? And I hate him. I hate him as a referee. I do. I do. And I wouldn't be surprised when we go to play this match where there's going to be 1 to 2 super controversial decisions, and they'll be against us. And if it does happen, I'm clipping the shit out of this and I'm putting it online, yeah? We have the date in the corner and everything, so timestamps. Pavlovich. Alexander Pavlovich. Lyle's working on it, but he will own United one day. Well, I would hope so. That would be great. I think we would be good. England is on fire. Yeah, give us score updates of the international. They're winning 5-0 versus who are they playing? Latvia? Who is that? Axe says we need Lamal, but Axe, you know that's never happening, yeah? What are we going to do with that? We need Dembele. You know that's never happening either. You know, we need Bellingham. I mean, that's never happening either. What are we going to do? Statman is an Amorim apologetic. If you say so. I mean, I don't really follow enough of the guy to really know. From time to time, I see him put up a stat. His name is Statman Dave. He likes stats. Again, I don't really go too depth into statistics like that. I pull one in here, 1 or 2 from time to time, but you know, I'm not obsessed with them. I think you can get kind of quite lost in the statistics, and I think statistics, because there's so many of them, it's very easy to paint a sort of picture. So I don't really hold them up too much on any type of pedestal. But I mean, they are good to sort of give at least a little bit of indication in certain areas, or, you know, certain things. But I think the eye test is always undefeated, yeah? All we care, passion, desire, Maz, Yoro, Maguire, Kobe, Mainu, Ahmad, Diallo, Cunha start. Lucky's with the manager, just needs to rest, some rest. Bodies ruin the game. Michael Oliver sucks, yes. Yeah, Latvia. Oh yeah. By the way, I did hear about that lie. I was gonna say, I totally forgot. Congratulations, South Africa qualified for the World Cup. First time since they hosted it in 2010. So good for you guys, man. And enjoy. Axe says he needs to go to sleep. Good night, and says Glazers out. Well, good night, Axe. We'll see you later. We'll probably be streaming. Today is Tuesday, yeah. We'll probably jump back on. Well, we're playing this week, yeah. Oh, and I just need to sort this out. I need to sort the calendar out. I'm not paying attention. So we're playing Sunday. Again, kind of a pain in the ass, right in the middle of NFL, but we're gonna have to do live. So we're stream. So Sunday we're gonna do a stream. So we'll probably do a stream, another stream on Friday. Yeah. We'll do. I've decided that we're gonna change the Friday one from Freestyle Friday to Football Friday, which is basically the same, but I think the name is just a little bit better. Where in terms of we could just talk basically general football, because I know it's a United channel, but on Fridays we could talk just more general football. We could talk about other teams. We could talk about more of that. It's still kind of like a freestyle. We don't have to specifically talk United, but sort of the same concept, yeah. Bafana. One of the other updates that we did get was that Manchester United reportedly interested in signing Job Bellingham. So Axe, there's your Bellingham. The only Bellingham we're gonna get. With uncertainties surrounding his future at Dortmund, Ruben Amorim is said to be a huge admirer of the player and could lead a move for him. I mean, who needs Jude when you can get Job? Yeah. That's a joke. But I don't know about this. I mean, I've heard some concerns being raised by people about sort of his attitude. I don't know because I don't. I'm not following him at Dortmund, or I didn't really pay attention to him when he was playing in English football either before his move to Dortmund. But I have seen people sort of raising concerns sort of about his attitude and mentality. But I don't know. I mean, I would advise. I would merely just say. I mean, that's for the club to sort of do their due diligence on that and determine. If he does have a good attitude, mentality. That's their job to sort out. So, I mean, there's that. I've seen this link a few times already. I don't know if there's really necessarily anything into it. It feels like one of those English player was in the Premier League, wasn't at playing English football, has gone to Dortmund. He's the brother of Jude Bellingham. He does have some talent. It's not like he's worthless, but like, linked to Manchester United, English club, United big name, Jude Bellingham's brother. He's got some hype around him because of that as well. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that's really going to come out of that. But one of the other pieces of news that we did get is that Inter Milan's 27-year-old left back Federico Di Marco has emerged as a priority target for Ruben Amorim, and he is a left wing back. Yeah, and he is actually a legitimate left wing back. Like, he is a left wing back. Like, he can attack. He is experienced. He's 27 years old. He has good speed. So, he's not slow. He has good strength as well. I've seen some people saying, what does that mean for Dorgu? My response to that would be competition. Competition and depth. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before. We're kind of lacking in there. And experience as well, by the way. I mean, Dorgu is still, again, he's younger. He's on the younger side. He still has a lot of room to sort of grow, and he still has like a full career ahead of him. Yeah, he's only 21 years old. He is a work in progress. He has some good aspects to his game. He has other aspects to his game that really need improvement, and he needs to develop them to become sort of the total wingback that we need. I don't think he has any real competition at this moment in time, sort of, kind of, other than the fact that we can throw Delo over there. But you would argue Delo is probably better suited for the right side than the left side. But with the options that we have at the current moment in time, you kind of have to make do with what's going on. I mean, there's no... if you take Delo out of the equation, there's nobody that can really play on the left-hand side. There's nobody there. Luke Shaw is not going to go... I'm highly convinced Luke Shaw will never play wing back again. I think they've determined that it's too much stress on his body, it's too much running, and it'll cause injuries. So I think Luke Shaw has converted permanently to a left center back, and we won't see him at wing back. Maybe it happens for a match or something, but on a consistent basis, I don't think we'll see that anymore. I think he will just be an option for left center back, considering we don't really have a left-footed player beyond Lisandro Martinez. And he is not back yet. Yeah. So in terms of a left-footed left center back, I mean, DeMarco, I think, would be a good buy. He has speed and he has strength, and I think he's pretty good at crossing the ball as well. But we got to see. But yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, a lot of people get their panties in a bunch. Or what did they say? Knickers in a twist. Yeah, they get they're like, oh, but if you get DeMarco, 27-year-old, you're gonna stunt Dorgu's. You're gonna stunt his development, and he's never gonna become the player that he can be. And I'm like, dude, I don't know in what world do you people live in. This is football. This is literally the beast of the nature. This is what it's about. You need competition. You need players pushing each other to become the best version of themselves. You need the players to not be so comfortable in the fact of that. I mean, if you have your job and you know that you can't get fired or you can't get replaced, I mean, are you going to be like nervous if you slack off, if your production goes down a little bit, if you're, turning up and putting in poor sort of work performances? No, because you're like, dude, I'm going to get paid regardless. My spot's never in jeopardy. So it doesn't even matter. And that's when results in terms of your self-performance starts going down, because you're not on edge. You're not worried. There's not that sort of push. And we're human beings. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Some people are very self-determined, self-driven, and highly motivated. But those, I think, are there's a very rare few when you take into account the entire population. I think that they're a very, very small percentage, and most human beings sort of need an environment where there is constant need to keep pushing yourself with challenges and rewards to come out of that. And we've seen it a little bit before at this football club, where players that just know that they're going to keep starting every match because there's just no way that they're going to get dropped, they do tend to start slacking and putting in they stop putting in good performances. Their performances do dip. So we do need that aspect. Again, on Joe Bellingham, United and Crystal Palace are closely monitoring Joe Bellingham's situation at Borussia Dortmund. That's coming from Bild. There was an update about Carlos Baleba saying Brighton reportedly want around 120 million euros, which is 104 million pounds, to sell Carlos Baleba, a price Manchester United aren't willing to meet. Yeah, I don't think we should be meeting that. He may very well be a very good player. But I don't think our club in its current situation should be putting in bids for 100 million for one player. Again, we're not there. If you look at Liverpool, they won the league. They're in a very good status, yeah, and they're in a very good place to go and spend 150 million on Havertz, which is a gamble, but that's when you can kind of do those things, yeah? The squad is pretty much... It's going to need a bit of changing with Van Dijk getting older and Salah leaving, etc., but I think they've already started setting themselves up to transition out of that. And you know, if you're winning and you're already at the top, performing quite high, you can go and spend 100, 150 million on a player, sort of take that gamble and do that. Yeah. But if you're Manchester United, that you've been making shit deals for the past 12 years, and you've been struggling and you're not really in a good place, I don't think it's wise to go and spend about 100 million on one player when we probably need to improve in you know, we need players. We probably need another 4 or 5 players in different areas, and in different positions. So, I mean, this thing it's going to drag out, the Baleba thing. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some indications that he is. I mean, he does want to leave. He does want to move. I think, you know, Brighton are going to try and hold out for as much money as possible. But unless some sort of a bidding war comes in from a couple different clubs, I don't even think that they'll probably get 100 million. They'll probably get under it. And yeah, I don't want United to be paying 100 million. You know, if they pay maybe 70, I think that's reasonable in terms of what we just paid for like Cunha and Mbeumo. He's a Premier League club, Premier League player. He's playing for a Premier League club. There's a tax on that. There's always a tax on that. But some people would be like, you know what, just go buy somebody else for less money. Or you could use that money to buy 2 players instead of 1. So another update is Antoine Semenyo has held talks with United before signing a new 5-year deal in the summer. So yeah, there was that one. There was another update that Manchester United haven't ruled out keeping Casemiro beyond the end of the season, but he'd likely need to accept a pay cut to stay. No. 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 No, 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 no. No, 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 no. 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 I mean, what kind of pay cut you gonna take? You own 350,000 a week. You're gonna go from 350 to 100 grand? Because I think that's what they'll offer him, if that. I know there was another update about this as well somewhere. Refresh real quick. All right, it's not on this one. It's not on this one. It's somewhere else. There was one that we got when I was going live that I saw that it was continuation of the Casemiro one. There's one about Maguire, by the way. This coming from Fabrizio. In order for Maguire's contract to be extended, both parties need to find a resolution on reduced terms. Maguire would need to reduce his current salary. I mean, we all knew that. He then went on to say there are no current negotiations taking place for the contract of Casemiro. There is a feeling he might leave in the summer 2026. He should leave. He should leave. And again, realistically, Maguire can go as well. But if you're telling me one is going to stay, I'd probably keep Maguire over Cass. If that's what you're telling me. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily have too much of a problem if Maguire stays on a reduced wage for a year or two. But realistically, they should probably both go. And we should probably move on. Yeah, we should move on and we should continue going forward. Because really, there's no real future in either one of them. Yeah. And I think I think with the defense though, it comes. You know what? The defense and the midfield is a bit of a dilemma because there's the question marks over sort of Bruno. I mean, he's kind of put them to bed, but I think there's still a lot of people that feel like there could be a potential that he goes in the summer. I mean, if Bruno goes and Casemiro goes, and I said this last time, and we need a midfielder already right now, we technically need probably another 2 midfielders. I mean, you could push Kobe up more, but yeah, I mean, at least, you know, you would say on paper that's 3 midfielders. Maybe you get in 2. You push Kobe up into a position if he's doing well, up a spot in the pecking order. And maybe you bring in maybe Saku Kone comes in a little bit more. When we have somebody young like that who, you know, isn't going to be pushing to really be starting tons of games, but gets some opportunities to develop or something like that. The defense is sort of a little bit the same though, because I mean, Maguire going, and there's the question marks over Lisandro. I mean, we don't know if he's going to be fit or he's going to stay fit, and if he doesn't stay fit, he gets injured again. I think that means that, you know, we're going to have to get rid of him. His contract is running out as well. So if you get rid of Martinez and you get rid of Maguire, we're going to have to bring in people for those areas as well. So it's about, I guess, then it turns into a numbers game. And I guess it also depends where we end up finishing at the end of the season. Like, if we are back in Europe, we're going to need a bigger squad. So I don't know how many players you're necessarily going to be able to get out of the club and then bring in to replace them, because we're going to need a larger squad size, yeah, which might dictate maybe like a Maguire staying or a Casemiro staying on a reduced wage to kind of be there as options for rotation and depth. But if we're not in Europe, we're obviously going to be in another season where we play less games, which I think makes an argument in the grounds to get rid of those players, because we don't need such a big squad. Ahmad, by the way, has scored a free kick for Ivory Coast against Kenya. It was right on the edge of the box. Nice left foot into the corner of the goal. If you want, I'll bring it up on the screen if I can do this. Good. Like I did last time. I would bring it up. So we could watch his thing together, yeah. Wait. Oh, that's that. What did I do last time with the other thing then? Where did it go? I thought it was in here. I could have swore it was in here. Let me see. Browser. Sure. Here we go. It is pissing down rain there, so it does look quite. It does look quite hard to see. Yeah, it looks very grainy. I mean, it is absolutely torrential downpouring there. But I mean, good goal, good goal. Good goal from Ahmad. So, Maguire's contract would see him fall down the pecking order. I would imagine United going in for another centre back. I think they need to go in for another centre back lie regardless, yeah? And he should be sort of down the pecking order now anyway, yeah? I think we're all in agreements that while some of us don't have necessarily a problem with Maguire, I don't think any of us are making any sort of argument for him to be starting matches. We kind of accept him as a bench player or a squad player. And we would prefer other players ahead of him. So I think he's already down there. I think I don't know how much further he would necessarily fall, but again, I think those implications, it depends what happens out of this season, yeah? Because if we get back in Europe, we probably are going to need him to a certain extent, because I think we probably need to go get another center back anyway. And we're going to need depth. We're going to play more games. You would expect more injuries and stuff like that out of playing more matches and more minutes. So, you know, if we are in Europe going into next season, he would probably still be playing a role in terms of he would still be featuring here and there. substitute. Maybe he starts a match, in a Carabao Cup or something like that. You know, maybe some of the European matches, depending on where we are. But yeah, Lyle says he sees Bruno Maguire, Cass, and Shaw leaving. We would probably see Delo leaving too. I don't know about Delo. I don't, because I think we also have a problem in terms of the wing backs spots as well. Yeah. I think Shaw should leave, but I don't know. Listen, if he stays fit this season, which he's done so far, yeah, which again, bit surprised because he's actually never done a season at United his whole time being here. He's never actually completed like a whole season without missing a shit ton of games. And it's still early in the season, so we got to see what happens with him. But if he stays fit, well, let's just say 75% of this season, maybe there's a chance that we could get rid of him because he won't be. I mean, his injury record is still terrible, but it's a bit of a lifeline in terms of, look, he was able to stay fit for a large part of the season. So, it's not like he's completely broken, sort of like Phil Jones at the end, or maybe like an Owen Hargreaves or something like that, where like, basically they can't play football anymore. And maybe that leads to a potential that we could get rid of him. But I feel like Luke Shaw is a guy that, because of his injury record, and his wage, and Luke Shaw himself, I just feel like that's a guy that we probably won't ever be able to really get rid of until his contract expires and we just don't renew it. Luke Shaw gives me the vibes of like he's one of those guys that, like, if we try to sell him, he'll probably just reject any club that comes for him. Even if United tell him that he's not really in their plans. The only thing that kind of goes a little bit in our favor, I guess, is Luke loves to play for England. He loves England. Him playing for England is like going to a fucking amusement park, because every time he goes there, he does these things where, he talks about like he's not at United anymore, even though he is, and he talks about how much playing for England is way better than playing for United. So, if us kind of trying to push him out forces him in a way where he doesn't have a chance to play for England anymore, then maybe he would consider leaving. But other than that, he kind of gives me a vibe that if we're like, yeah, Luke, we want you to go, Luke would be like, nah, I have a contract, pay me, I'll chill on the bench. And then also, it's like, well, how many clubs are interested to buy somebody like Luke Shaw with that injury record and the wages that he has? I don't think there would be a lot, but there would probably be at least one or two that maybe you could do a deal. So, and Elias says another big summer coming. Every summer is a big summer because we are in need of fixing, and improvement. So, they have to be a big summer. I think there's going to be different. Ahmad has gotten a goal and assist in 87 minutes for Ivory Coast. And the Ivory Coast national team have qualified for the 2026 World Cup. So, congratulations to Ahmad and his nation for getting in there. My nation will never make it there, in terms of Malta. The US will be there, but I think, or you would at least expect, the US is usually in it, yeah, so. Portugal tied 2-2 versus Hungary. That's crazy. Bruno played 62 minutes and Diego Dalot was an unused substitute. Well, as long as nobody's gotten injured, yeah, we've kind of survived the the injury break. We've probably come out on the better side. Laurie Whitwell here saying Ruben Amorim to Manuel Ugarte, the same meeting he told Alejandro Garnacho. What? Ruben Amorim to Ugarte. But wait. Why is this? All right, let me read this one. This one's written. Ruben Amorim had to go at Manuel Ugarte in the same meeting where he told Alejandro Garnacho to find a new club. He said he had a go at Ugarte. He said to Ugarte, "You're not the same player than what you were at Sporting." Okay. Cool. I mean, I don't really know what to say about that. I don't. I don't really have a reaction to that. It's just whatever. I don't know. Former Red, Cristiano Ronaldo scored 947 goals. He's going for that 1,000, man. He wants that 1,000 real bad. Yeah. He wants that real bad. That's about it. Yeah. So, very good. Very, 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 very good. You just need something to click for Malta, that one coach that leads the team to making history. We need better players, yeah. We need better play. Our problem, Mile, is that we sort of have like professionals, but they're not really I mean, like, you know, it's too small. It's too small of a country. It's too small of a country. There's not a lot of there's not money in it. The players, I mean, listen, we played Bosnia the other day, yeah. I mean, there was like 2-3 headers. These guys heading the ball fucking 60 yards wide. And that's just because they're not at the level, but also, I mean, the pool is small in terms of players and just our football in the country. I mean, they're considered professional, but I view it more like it's like a semi-professional thing, yeah? I mean, some of them just play football and that's what they do for a living, but a lot of them from the youth up, they don't really, they do other things, yeah? They do other things. It's not like 100% total commitment to football. They have other things going, family businesses or stuff like that, that they're caught up in. So, Ray says his blaming players, not him. Who are you talking about? No, I know small teams have qualified before, but I'm just talking about when you look at the, I don't know if it's necessarily the coach, yeah? It's more of the ability of the players and how they develop for where they're playing in the country, and the football that they're playing. And I just don't think the whole setup is just not on a level where they could probably ever develop good enough to actually compete. It would have to be a change from inside the country. I mean, we do have a team for, I think, the first time that they are, I believe they've made it to one of the European competitions, Conference League or something like that. So that is like a step because we've never had that before. So there is a team from Malta that's actually going to be competing in, you know, Europe, which is a huge deal because that's never happened before. I don't know if I think they won the qualifier, so I think they're in it if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean that's going to take a long time for progress and stuff. Alivia says, "Are you Amarim in or out?" I'm not Amarim out. For sure. I'm not Amarim out. I have doubts and reservations that he's going to survive. I would like to see him succeed. I'm tired of us constantly going in the merry-go-round of sacking managers. I'm tired of sort of the narrative that always seems to come about, that it's always the manager's fault 100%. And I'm tired of I'm tired of a large portion of the fan base thinking that sacking a manager means that everything is going to be fixed when we bring in a new manager, because I think there's a lot of big problems at the football club that go above and beyond the manager, and I think that they take a long time. I think right now I still hold the stance that it is quite early in the season. You know, people are looking at last season and combining it with this season, and that's fair. I think people are looking at the win percentage, and it's quite shit, and that's why they're rubbing out, which I get. But in terms of specifically this season, it's gonna be a bit of a roller coaster. It's been a bit of a roller coaster already. It's probably gonna continue like that, and I'm just taking it week by week, and seeing how it goes at this moment in time. I think, well, I talked about this last time. We had the hardest start to the Premier League campaign out of every team in the league, and we are in a position where we're basically on the fence. Yeah, we're basically in the middle, where we are right now. So it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst, and it could kind of go either way, which is why I'm kind of just taking it week by week, because I don't think he's going to lose his job this month or next month, unless things go very horribly wrong and he doesn't win a match. Yeah, which I don't think will happen. I think it'll be sort of like, maybe we'll be able to get 2 consecutive, but we won't go to 3 at some point. Maybe we won't ever get 2 consecutive. Maybe we just keep going, 1 win, a draw, a loss, a draw, win, something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you just, like, even looking at the table, for where we are, I mean, we are 10th place on 10 points, 7 matches. We are we're 1 win off of 5th, so we're 3 points off of 5th, and we're 5 points off of 2nd. And then if you look at the bottom 3, we are 5 points off of 17th, which is 1 spot above relegation. So we're essentially, we are smack dab right in the middle. We're 5 points off of the bottom, and we're 5 points off of the top. We are dead smack in the middle. That's why we're in 10th. So we are in the top half of the table, and it can sort of go either way. So I think it's a bit early. You know. And he said, nice measured take. Most of the fan base is split on this. They are. I mean, it is very split. It is very split. It is very sort of divisive, to a certain extent. I mean, our fan base has been like that for quite some time over a lot of issues. Yeah. And listen, I get it. Some people do things for content, or they do things for click, and they get to be very hyperbolic about things, and, you know, being angry, and making angry rant videos gets you clicks and tractions, and stuff like that. And sure, I mean, if that's what you want to do, who am I to tell you not to do it or whatever? I don't have to like it. I don't have to, you know, engage with it. That's up to people's discretion. But I try to just be real. And, you know, I guess sometimes being real can be more boring than, you know, if you got somebody sitting here for 20 minutes doing a rant, calling Ruben Amorim all sorts of names, and, you know, just saying everything is shit and screaming at the camera. But I don't like to operate like that. And I try to operate in some sort of, you know, the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation, I've always said, Ruben won't lose his job if we lose to Liverpool. Like, you know, he's not going to lose his job for losing a match against Arsenal. He's going to lose his job if he can't beat the Brentfords, the Brightons, the Sunderlands, you know, these smaller teams, Everton, like Forest, Burnley, West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Fulham, Villa, Brighton, even Newcastle, Everton, these teams, that's where he'll lose his job. That's where, it'll end for him. But losing to top 4 teams like Arsenal, Liverpool, you know, City, while we want them to win, those are not the ones that are gonna get him sacked. What will get him sacked is losing to these other small teams. And in the opening of the season, we've had the hardest. We've played, I think, the most top 4 or top 6 teams out of every other team in the league. So I think with that, considering coming off of last season and basically being in a spot where we're sort of in the middle, and we're not in too bad of a spot, but we're not too good in of a spot, I think that's okay. And I think now really the important part is coming, in that we got to see, how it's going to continue on from here when we do start getting, these other teams where we do actually need the results. Where he needs to be getting these results. The Liverpool one's going to be a big one. If we could get a surprise out of that, again, it's huge W for him, huge W for us. Brighton, we're going to be at home. It's still going to be a tough match because Brighton are a good team. I don't think there's there's not really easy matches in the Premier League, but we're home. You got to win that match. We are expected to then win that match. We are United, even if we are currently shit. We if you want to compete and you want to have a good season, you got to be winning the match against Brighton at home. We then got to play Forest, and Forest aren't in a good spot. I mean, they got Ange Postecoglou. They're in disarray right now, with the whole thing that's gone on there, and we're away, but we should beat them. We should beat them. So, barring Liverpool match, we should be getting 3 points against Brighton. And I would expect us to go and get 3 points against Forest. I think he needs to get these results. Then we got to play Tottenham away. Yeah, and traditionally Tottenham are in the top 6. But they obviously finished underneath us last season. That's a harder match. You would still say to go and win it. But if we don't, all right, you jot down an L for that, yeah? You go past that, we got to play Everton, and we're at home. We have to win that match. That's a match he has to win. It's a match that he can't afford a loss. We're home against Everton. You win that match. You play Crystal Palace. We're away. Now, Crystal Palace have been performing quite good, but they're not a traditional top 6 club. You need to get a result there. Maybe get a draw. Then we go and play West Ham, and we're home. And this is well into December now, but beginning of December. You play West Ham. We're at home. You got to win that match. You go and play Wolves. We're away. You got to win that match. You play Bournemouth. We're home. You got to win that match. So there's a lot of these games, basically after Liverpool, there's a lot of them that we need to be getting a lot of results in here. Tottenham might be one that's a bit of a problem because they're traditionally top 6 club, but the other ones, we got to get results against them. And, after the Tottenham match, the next time we play a traditional top 6 team, there's Villa somewhere in there and Newcastle in between, but the next one that we play is the Manchester Derby, and we're at home, and that's January 17th, and then comes Arsenal, and then comes Tottenham again. So the back end after January is going to be quite a bit difficult, even at some parts of the season. At one point we do have to play Chelsea. We're going to be away, and then 2 games later we're going to have to play Liverpool, and we're going to be home. So last day of the season, we're playing Brighton to finish the season, and we're going to be away. So, gotta go, but great stream. Keep up the good work. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And thank you for getting involved in the chat. Hope you subscribed, and hopefully you come back, and we'll talk another time. Yeah. So, but listen, I think it's perfect time to call an end to the show as well for today. Very, very good discussions. We did a nice 2 hours. Still working on trying to cut down the show, but we're not doing 3 hours, and we're not doing 2.5. So we're cutting it down little by little. So yeah, I think very good show. If anybody has any opinions or thoughts that they would like to get out before we get out of here, please throw them in the live chat, and I will read them out before we do get out of here. Just double checking the internet to see if we got any late news, which we're probably not going to because it's past the time. But one of the things is October international break has ended. Hallelujah. We're done with it. It's over. Cunha, Ahmad, Delo, Casemiro, and Binder, and Bruno. No injury reports except for Aiden Heaven, which we talked about, which may not be serious. So hopefully he's not out for too long. I would like to see the kid get some sort of an opportunity at some point as well. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the positives, I guess, to come out of this international break. No injuries. We've gotten out of it. Sesko as well. I think they forgot to list Sesko. So Sesko as well. And yeah, I think I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I still have that feeling in my gut that this thing may have potentially screwed us over a bit in terms of that, you know, Liverpool, or at least Arne Slot, might have some time to go and think a way of how to adjust things and fix some things for the upcoming match. And I also, because of the inconsistent, it's really our team. Yeah, it's not really so much Liverpool get to, you know, go back to the drawing board and fix some things, because I think they still have problems. And also, I mean, not all their players were available. Yeah, like they went on international as well, so it's not like he can. It's not like they've been sitting there for 2 weeks trying to all together fixing stuff. But really the thing that bothers me is because we have been inconsistent, and because we are struggling for form, and we're struggling to put out sort of the same display from match to match, and we had a win, and you wanted to carry that confidence of the win into the match, and now it's been like a 2-week break. I just feel like our team gives me the feeling that, you know, we've gone on international, we're going to come back, and it's like we're going to kind of forget how to do things. I don't know. They shouldn't, but I'm just saying the way our team has been, it seems like when they do go to like international stuff, they come back and it's like almost like everything that they were kind of like learning or getting under grips or so, or maybe building some momentum in it, they kind of come back and it's like they totally forgot all of it, and it just like goes all out the window and we have to start over again. And I hope that's not the case, because you know, if that is, and we play anything like we played against City, against Liverpool, we're going to be in for a very, very, very tough day. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully this time it's different, and, you know, we go into this Liverpool match and we actually play with confidence and with strength, and we give, you know, a full performance and a full battle for 90 minutes. And we just duke it out with the men. You know, again, I will say there's a way to lose, yeah. And the context of the match will be key for how we feel and react after it. Because if we watch that match and we feel like, you know what, we lost the match, but our players gave everything today. They worked very, very hard, and they were fighting out there. Yeah, they were fighting out there, and they never stopped fighting. But we lost the match. I think we can all kind of take that and move on to the next one. But if they go out there and they're nowhere near the levels, and they're made, you know, they're made to look like absolute, like, clowns, like, you know, like the golfing class is huge and we're just getting absolutely teared apart and we get embarrassed, you know, that's never acceptable, and that's going to have a different sort of feeling to it. And there's going to be different criticism to it, and of course, because again, there's a way to lose. If you do lose, and listen, losing is part of the game. You're going to lose matches, of course. Every team's going to lose matches. Liverpool just lost 3 on the bounce. But it's in the manner of how you lose it, yeah? We can't look like how we did against City, or some of the matches we've done in the past with Liverpool where they absolutely battered us. That can't happen. It can't happen. It's, you know, it just can't. So they need to go out there, and that's kind of my worry. That's kind of my worry. It's just that I don't know what we're going to get from this team. I don't know. You know, my worry is that they just, for whatever reason, they just don't ever sort of switch on for that match, and we are just gonna get, not even in the score line, but just in the play of game, we are gonna get absolutely obliterated. And it's because I don't trust them, and I don't trust them because they're very inconsistent. They haven't given me or any of us a reason to trust them. And even Ruben pointing it out. I mean, the manager of the squad is nervous about it, and the fact that he doesn't even know what his own players are doing, and he's the one working with them. So, as a fan, I think it's even harder because we don't even get to see them in training or know what's going on, behind the scenes and stuff like that. And we just see them basically once a week on the pitch. So yeah, small shavings, no break until March. Thank the Lord, man. All right, so it's just full Premier League. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. By the way, guys, please make sure you smash the like button. If you didn't smash the like button, please get that done. For those of you that did smash the like button, greatly appreciated. It is a massive help to the channel, so thank you. We are trying to get to 3,500 subscribers. So if anybody did subscribe, I got to get my notification back for the subscribers. I used to have like a nice live notification that would pop up on the screen with the person's name telling us who subscribed, so I could shout them out. I got to get that back up. It broke and I never replaced it. Quick update on the background situation. I ordered some things. They are supposed to be arriving today. If they didn't, I mean, I think they arrived while we were doing the show. So I'm going to play around with that for the next day or two, try and set them up. And maybe we'll have this thing going, for Liverpool. Maybe we'll debut it for the Red Devil recap match reaction for the Liverpool match on Sunday. So yeah, we'll see. I got to get the camera to hand it up, and I guess I'll ask you guys. I'll probably do a live thing of it during the show as well, because I have two options. I can blur the background, so there will be sort of United decoration behind me, but you won't be able to clearly 100% see it. It'll be a bit blurred. Or I could just have it unblurred. You'll be able to see it. And I guess, I'll let the viewers kind of tell me what they prefer or what they like on how it looks. And we could probably do that live at the end of one of the shows where we play around with it, and I'll blur it and unblur it, and you guys let me know which one you think looks better. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it in terms of updates. We'll be back. I'm shooting for Friday. We'll do Football Friday. Football Friday. We'll talk a little bit United, and then, whatever the viewers want to talk about. If they want to talk about Real Madrid or they want to talk about another football club, we can sort of do that. And we'll just have a general discussion about football. Or anything else, really. So Friday, probably the same time that we've been going live. So about 8:15 p.m. British Standard Time, we'll be going live. Unless something super major breaks in the next couple days, then obviously we'll do a sort of an emergency live stream. If it has anything to do with, if there's a major update about maybe the potential takeover or something else going on. Yeah, but then other than that, I think that's it for the updates. Going right now. The next thing that I plan on doing again is I'm gonna get the call-in show up and running. Yeah, so after we get the new background going, I will be getting the call-in show, and then I will try to figure out when is the best time to sort of implement the call-in show. Whether we do that on match reactions, which I feel like is a very good idea, because we could get I would like to have different people's opinions after watching the match. I think it's one of the best sort of times to get different perspectives and different thoughts of watching the match. So I'm thinking about implementing it there. We might do another one as well. We'll see how those go first, and then we'll implement sort of, maybe one in the middle of the week when we're not playing a match. on some topics as well for whoever wants to get involved. So and I'm also working on a new logo as well. So I have a new updated logo, one that looks a lot more 3D-ish and stuff like that. So I'm going to be bringing that in as well. So yeah, some things being worked on, some new things coming to the show. I'm looking forward to it. So again, thank you guys, appreciate it very much. You guys are always the best. Shout out to all the subscribers, and shout out to everybody that got involved in the chat and taking your time to give us your opinions and thoughts. We greatly appreciate it. Yeah, just everybody have a good day, and we'll see each other on Friday. We'll see each other on Friday for Football Friday. So take care, good night, stay safe, and thank you for your support as always.